All right. What's up, folks? This is an impromptu Sunday live. For those of you who don't know me, this is Yoddah Live. I am Yoddah, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And today is July 12th, 2026, Sunday. Sunday Fun Day. I think it was Malcolm X who said it was the most segregated hour in America, Sunday 12 Eastern time, right? Or 12, whatever time you happen to be in, right? Because that's when so many people are in church. So I see a lot of you heathens are here and not in church, so that's good. I thought I saw Traffic Man. Hello, Traffic Man. Hope you can stick around. Johnny, hello. As people join, I'll get more and more into the subject matter at hand. Let me just straighten out my stuff. All right. I think we're doing good on all technological fronts as far as I can tell. So we're just going to keep it going. Whoops. Come on. So, yeah, because today is Sunday and this was my mother's birthday. I guess technically it still is, but she's not around to enjoy it. She passed in 2024 at the age of, I think it was 92 years, 3 months, and 28 days. I think that's exactly how long she lived. That's quite a run for a human. So I see a few more people joining us. Dorothy Pedrito. So your name is Pedro, and your nickname growing up was Pedrito, I guess, right? If only you knew. Kelly Frost, hello, welcome one and all. Please remember, if you can, to do the Daily Heart Me somewhere over my head. You should see the Daily Heart Me. If you don't, you'll probably see the words follow. It just means you're not following me yet, which is okay. You can just click follow and then send me Daily Heart Me. It's a whole TikTok coin. Very exciting, right? Okay, so while we wait for other people to join us, I'm just going to do a little musical interlude. I'm in a good mood this morning. I don't know how long it'll last, but I'm going to take advantage of it while it's here. This is one of my favorite bands ever, Electric Light Orchestra, and I think their founder and leader, Jeff Lynne, is a musical genius. This song, I think, is from Out of the Blue. I found it online as the very best of, but this is Mr. Blue Sky, and it's just a peppy tune. Let's enjoy it. Damn it, I love that song. Oh, I love this band. This band has been going strong for over 50 years. Like, their music still holds up. It's amazing. Jeff Lynne is phenomenal. I heard he did a best of Electric Light Orchestra by himself. He reworked and reproduced all the songs for that album. I haven't listened to it yet, but I might just do that live just because I just think he's amazing. I think the band is amazing. So let's get into the topic. I don't normally come up on Sundays, but I guess I woke up and I just felt like it. Maybe because I got a decent amount of sleep last night for the first time in a while. Okay, so first of all, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not even trying to be controversial. I'm actually trying to be literal. God is just your imagination. And Zane says God is my imagination and I don't care. That's an odd sentence, but okay, Zane, if you'd like, you can come up and explain what you mean by that. I am interested to hear that. And like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just offering my vantage point, my perspective on the subject. I've been having Zane for some reason. What does that say? Zigzag tags. Zane, I for some reason I can't invite you up. But if you want to request up, please feel free. As far as I can tell, everyone I've ever asked about God, and I've been having this conversation since I was a teenager, so we're talking about roughly 45 years or so. I've asked people, why do you think God exists, or why do you believe in God? B says Santa loves you. Some people have referred to me as Black Santa, and I do love you. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something. Hold on a second. Here we go. Okay. So, as I said, I've been having this conversation for decades, over 4 decades, right? And anytime I ask someone to tell me why they believe God exists, they only have feelings and they describe emotional events. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can believe all you want in God, right? So if you've never met God, never heard God talk to you, never seen God anywhere, never saw credible evidence of God, then the only place God exists is in your imagination. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. That's not to say that you shouldn't have that going on. But if you're honest, that is the reality of it. You've never encountered God in your daily life. All you can describe are things like when God was, when Jesus was described in the Bible, people think that someone was actually describing the person that they saw. I forget who it was. I think it was John, and this is in Revelations. That's like the skin of bronze, hair of wool, that kind of stuff. He was describing a dream that he had. He wasn't like nowhere in the Bible does it describe Jesus, but that's another story. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because that's the only place people encounter God is a feeling that they have or a belief that they have, which is, just their imagination. And I don't see a conflict with that. I don't see an offense in that. I think it's okay to say your beliefs are in your imagination. I know that my beliefs are just my imagination. Whatever goofy thoughts I have about what happens when I die, or why I'm here, or why anybody's here, or why anything is here, it's just that. It's my imagination because I have no proof. Let's see. Happy Chappie is not paying attention. He said, if you don't believe, then okay. Don't understand why you want others not to. I don't care if other people believe in God. So Happy Chappie, you've not been paying attention. Ronnie, or Roni, says, God is the source of the constant energy of light. Life is the only thing that can collapse the wave. Okay, whatever that means. B. Raiden asks, are you a Jesus mythicist? I've mythosict. Mythosict. That's what you wrote. I've never heard that phrase. I don't know what that is. If that means, do I think Jesus is a myth? Then yes. But I'm not sure if that's what you're asking me. Oh God, user 7610 said there are so many atheist baldies, and yet most of the famous atheists have full heads of hair, but that's funny. Roni says, incorrect, only life can collapse the wave, consciousness is primary. You're speaking in riddles, dude. Diato says, love the header, thank you. A follower of Christ says, it's clear that's a vision and not meant to be an accurate description of appearance. And yet, a follower of Christ, people refer to that as the reality of Christ being described. They don't realize that the only description was from a dream. DeMarco says, you are proof. That's a weird sentence. He knows the count of your hairs on your head. Roni, I'm not going to continue because you're just speaking in riddles. There's proof of God in life and the way the universe responds. No, that's not how proof works. I think people do that all the time when they come up and challenge me. They say, "Oh, the fact that there are trees and sheep and fish is proof of God." No, that's proof that life exists. I agree that life exists, but the life is not proof of God. That's your belief, and that's fine, but that's not how proof works. That's like saying the Bible is true because the Bible exists. Which, imagine being in court and you're on trial for schmurder, and you finally are put on the witness stand, and the prosecuting attorney says, are you guilty of schmurder? And you go, I am innocent of schmurder. And the prosecutor says, well, what's your proof that you're innocent? And you go, well, I just said it. I said I'm innocent, therefore I must be innocent because I said it. That's why, life is not proof that God exists. Okay? And if you were the omniscient being of the universe, it would seem like a really simple task to provide people either to make people that believe in you because it's in their DNA, or to make it very easy to prove that you exist. I mean, this is a conversation that goes back thousands of years. Why has there been no proof? Why has there been no proof? And of course, Christ is not as old as thousands of years, but there's a lot of mythologies that go back 5,000 years and more. And interestingly enough, a lot of those older mythologies that are older than Christianity sound very familiar in Christianity. It's as if Christianity borrowed stories from other people. Ooh. DIY495204 says, man, shut up. Oh, Lord. It's just someone starved for attention. Pathetic loser. Man, shut up. I don't like what you're saying. Sandra says, Lindsey Graham passed away. I'm not sure if I can use the word DIED because it's so confusing on what you can say and what you can't say. Could mean good things for human rights. I don't think so. Lindsey Graham isn't the only person that was standing in the way of human rights. The entire Republican Party is doing that. B1LLY6, Billy 6, can I get a revered black grape and say amen? I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. Could flip the Senate. Yeah. Yeah, but we still have a schmurderous, corrupt regime in power. So the flipping of the Senate and the midterms might add up to nothing. Remember, Dump does not intend to give up power. He does not intend to leave the presidency. He does not intend to leave the White House. We know this. Okay. So what we're relying on, which is part of the mistake that, you know, good people make, is that we're relying on the rules to save us, but the rules have not saved us yet. And, you know, Dump's been impeached twice. So if it leads to an impeachment, then what? Does that automatically lead to removal? And if it leads to removal, who's going to remove him? If he says, no, I'm staying, then what? A follower of Christ says he has. Do you mean is that a response to Dump has been impeached twice? Yeah, he just hasn't been removed. Terry, I agree. I would never encourage anybody to stop fighting. I'm just a realist. We've got to be prepared for the reality of what we're facing. So we have to be prepared to do more than just cite rules and more than just assume that the enactment of rules is going to help us. They haven't helped us so far, and the rules keep changing because of a corrupt Supreme Court. I just posted this earlier, as a matter of fact. Let's see. I won't put it up because TikTok gets mad when I post my own content for some reason. Wait, I didn't post this? Huh. I thought I had. Maybe I didn't. Okay. It's about to be posted, so you're going to hear it before. Oh, it was an idea that I had. Interesting. Okay. So I have an idea for a post, but this was this is a post just that's text that I'm going to put up sometime today. I wrote it out earlier. I thought I had posted it, but I have a short attention span, so it probably slipped my mind. I wrote, the so-called Supreme Court has the most somber responsibility in America. They are tasked to interpret the Constitution and make sure all laws past and future align with it. When the so-called Supreme Court is racist, the entire legal system is in jeopardy. When the so-called Supreme Court is corrupt, an entire country is in jeopardy. So, if you look at the laws that the Supreme Court has passed, I think if you go back to 2010, that's kind of a good demarcation. 2010 was sort of the starting point for reversing everything that had happened in the 60s. That's when they flooded politics with money by giving corporate personhood. That's when they started chipping away at the Voting Rights Act, which they've done twice now and essentially gutted the Voting Rights Act. So, it's a perilous time because none of the rules seem to apply now. LF max out? LFM max out. True, the God entity is its imaginary idea created by the human race. I'm guessing there's a little typo in there, but it sounds like it's an imaginary idea created by the human race. Yeah. The Bible, Kiki says, the Bible is the biggest instrument of white supremacy. Yeah, I'd say, especially the slave Bible. Did you know that slave owners actually created another Bible referred to now as the Slave Bible that left out important things like the mass exodus, because they didn't want enslaved black people reading about other enslaved people that got free. How sinister is that? Rob 5000 says, "Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his evil." Go figure. God said that. Yeah, God seemed a little paranoid. Rob 5000 also says, "Civil rights rollback was always the end goal." Yeah, clearly. Um, and I don't know if it's Ike or Ike or Elike. I'm sorry, I'm not. Let's see. It looks like Elike the pound. To be fair, everything that we perceive is part of our imagination. I think that's a stretch to say that. Like, I don't think this microphone is my imagination, and I can perceive it. I know it's real. All right. The follower of Christ is Nat Turner. I'm not sure why you're throwing down Nat Turner's name. He was a famous, revolter, but I don't understand the context of invoking his name right now. Neuroscience clearly shows that objective reality is something incapable of experience. I don't think neuroscience proves that. I think I think I know what you're getting at, and I agree to a certain extent. I mean, Shakespeare said there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so, right? So I understand that whatever we are perceiving in the world is landing in our brain through a series of filters. The filter of our perspective, the filter of our awareness in the moment, the filter of our past experiences, the filter of our belief system, right? Like, if you speak to attorneys and to police officers, they will likely tell you that eyewitness accounts are the most unreliable things that you can imagine. Like, let's pick something simple: a car accident, right? If you have 10 witnesses to a car accident, chances are you're going to have 10 different stories. So much so that sometimes they cannot even agree on the color of the cars. So I understand what you're saying about objective reality, but I don't know if neuroscience has actually proven for a fact that there is no objective reality. Maybe they have, and I'm just not aware of it. Oops, someone's looking to come up, and I missed that earlier. Let me see if I can still catch them. Oh, there it is. All right. Looks like you'll have to help me pronounce your name once you load up. Hopefully that's going to happen. Loading, loading, loading. Oops, we might have to try again. There you are. Is it E-like? E-like the number. Okay. So how you doing today? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that. Like, I mean, a simple example of that is we don't hear what dogs hear, right? So, like, I describe that as essentially another dimension. If there's something happening that a dog is experiencing that we can't perceive, then that's almost literally another dimension of experience. But I want to address what Jacob says. This is apparently directed to my prompt. He isn't imagination if you're thinking about him. First of all, we don't know if God is a him. In Genesis, he said, we created man in our image. So I'll go with they. But so, Jacob, by that logic, if I'm thinking about a unicorn, then a unicorn must be real, right? If I'm thinking of a garden gnome and springing to life, or a gargoyle, or an elf, or a dragon, if I'm thinking about him and speaking about them, they must be real, right? I mean, you see the fault in that train of thought that you have there, Jacob. So, Eli, mhm. Sure, sure. Time, same thing. Yep. By the way, you could take your time. I love what you're saying, so take your time. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why we sort of have to, for me anyway, to organize my brain and to make sense of the world. I can, on the one hand, accept that anyone that believes in God believes in God. I can totally accept that. I understand the motivations for that. Perishing is scary. What happens after we perish is terrifying to a lot of people. So I get the need to create the concept of an afterlife, or to create some being that's going to take care of you in the afterlife. I totally get that. I can't fault anyone for these constructs, right? But for me, I have to also understand that while it's fine to believe in this thing, that this thing is relegated, because of all the things that you just pointed out, to our imagination. And even whatever I believe, which is insignificant, I don't even see the need to talk about what we each believe, because we each believe something different, essentially. Even if you talk like if I say blue, the 48 people that are here right now are not necessarily thinking of the same thing, right? We have a shade of blue that we're perceiving in our minds right now, and that's okay. It's the same with religion. Everybody's perceiving their own thing. They have whatever information they've taken in, whatever they've accepted to be true, whatever they believe is true, is just literally their imagination. And I see no conflict in expressing that, but some people get very upset about that. No, clearly. Yeah, more than any other species, right? Like we've manipulated nature to more of an extent than any other species can even imagine. Well, I mean, it is measurably true. I don't think that makes us better than if you were to conclude that because of our manipulation of nature we are better than other species. I think that would be hubris. But I think just pointing out that fact is not necessarily hubris. But before we continue, let me welcome in Michael. How you doing, Michael? I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. What's on your mind? There's no faith involved. So that's a faulty presupposition. I believe what I wrote. It's not a question of faith. If you want to try to put words in my mouth, this conversation is going to be really boring. So instead of trying to put words in my mouth, just tell me what's on your mind. Why? Believe it's right without evidence. Yes, that's what faith is. I'm sorry. Say that again. Yes, there is. You can believe something without evidence. What are you talking about, dude? Are you going to try to change what words mean now? So no, I'm not. Okay, so let me see. Hold on. Let's see how it's defined. Because maybe you're right. Maybe I am working on a wrong definition here. So let's see. Define faith. Okay, there we go. Faith primarily means having complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It broadly spans secular loyalty, deep religious belief, and firm convictions held without physical proof. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, which is the same as saying without evidence. How many fucking times are you going to how many times are you going to repeat my premise? I know what my premise is. You've repeated it twice already. Let's move on. Okay? What is my proof that God is my imagination is the lack of proof of God. All right, listen. Are you here to have a conversation or to psycho or to are you trying to psychoanalyze me? Are you trying to psychoanalyze me right now? Because you're not good at it. Okay, make your case. You want to come up here and say God is more than imagination? Go ahead and give me your case. Go ahead and say what's on your mind. What you're doing now is boring. Go ahead, explain how God is real. Go ahead and explain how God is real. Explain how God is real then. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. Oh, and here I am being quiet, leaning back and putting my hands on my chest, and I've given you 3 openings already to speak, and all you want to do is act like a fucking victim. You're a child. You don't know how to have conversations. You're not smart. Maybe in your friend group, you're considered smart, but up here you sound ridiculous right now. Okay? I sat back for 5 seconds waiting for you to talk, and then your first thing is to say, well, you don't listen. You're absurd, dude. Bye. Let me bring someone else up that maybe can have a normal fucking conversation. Holy shit. Oh, let's see. Philly, your spirit, is it? Or Phil, your spirit? Phil, hello, how you doing? What's on your mind?
God is just your imagination. The topic. That's on my mind. I believe that God is not just my imagination.
Okay. And what's your proof that God exists? Okay. That's not how proof works, but okay. What evidence do you have that God created all of the aforementioned things?
If you see patterns, that necessarily is made up of patterns, or how your intellect is what created it.
That's an assumption, that's not proof. That's an assumption, that's not proof.
It's not an assumption.
It is an assumption.
It's a fact.
No, it is not a fact. There's no fact to be had here. A fact is something testable and repeatable. Okay? So let me ask you something. Here's a pattern. Every day, roughly 20,000 children starve to their perishment. So did God do that?
That is completely off what God said.
Oh, is it? I think it's completely within. You were talking about a pattern. That's a daily pattern. So God must have designed that.
So, I can give you a good pattern.
Oh, no. Let's talk about what I just brought up. Let's address. You're trying to pivot away from a point that makes your first point sound ridiculous. So instead of pivoting away from that, instead of trying to overtalk me, which you will not be able to do successfully, what I've done is I have brought up a point that you can't address, so you're trying to run away from that point. So address the pattern that I just mentioned. Is that God?
The creation of man, so of course, yes.
Oh, so is that good? So is that good that God makes sure that 20,000 children meet their end every night? I'm asking. I've moved on to another question. Now that you answered my question, I've asked you another question. That's how conversations work. So go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say your piece. Go ahead.
Perfect. So, when I look at your microphone, I can easily see that it contains patterns. What I do know is that a human being created that because of how complex it is. Now, when you look at your creation, your eyes are a pattern, your ears are perfectly symmetrical. ETC. How do you mean that someone from a higher intellect created you? We don't know who, we don't know what, but we do know that it was created. Now stay silent for you.
Still not proof of God.
Interesting. So, if you saw a microphone, you wouldn't think it was created by a higher intellect, even though you don't know the person that created it.
I know that the microphone exists because I can see it, and people have schematics that show how they created it, and microphones are repeatable, and testable. So what, where, how is that? Is the microphone evidence of God then?
repeatable and more testable as well.
Okay, so how does that conclude with God? No, because we're in the middle of a conversation and you're being rude. I will happily welcome you in a moment when I finish talking to this person. So go ahead, tell me how that is proof of God, because humans are repeatable.
We are repeatable patterns.
Hmm.
Simple. That's all.
That is proof of human copulation. Okay, how is that proof of God?
Just the same way I just asked you for seed towel on the floor, or the creator of music came from somewhere.
That's fantastic. Okay, hold that thought because you're going nowhere with this. Okay, so now unmute yourself. I forget, what is it? Mrs. Something or other?
I apologize for being rude, but
No worries.
asking to cut in.
No
I was
worries.
just going to say that the air that you breathe is invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that you breathe it in every single day and sustains your life.
Right.
Because I heard you guys talking about how
Mm-hmm.
you need to see something and you don't need to see something.
No, I didn't say you needed to see it, because I can understand that air is real because of what happens when there's a lack of oxygen.
Sorry, am I muted?
Yes, you're unmuted.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying that some things in life you can't see.
I understand, but you can experience them even if you can't see them. Like I said, if oxygen gets depleted from me right now, I will perish. That is proof of air.
But I mean, you do not have faith in God. You go through things mentally.
You don't know that to be true. You don't know that to be true.
I do know that to be true.
No, you don't. You might know that for yourself. That doesn't mean every person that doesn't believe in God goes through negative things that is directly related to their lack of belief in God.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, don't discount things just because you can't see them.
I don't discount things. I don't discount. You came up here with a faulty presupposition. I don't discount things because I can't see them. I understand that even though I can't see air, I can experience the reality of air when air is not present. But
Experience the reality of God, trust me.
no. Oh, trust me, bro. That's where we are in this conversation. Oh my God. All right. Thanks for wasting everybody's time with nonsense. Have a good day.
You too.
I mean, air. God is real. Trust me. All right. Unicorns are real. Trust me. Dragons are real. Trust me. That's the best that these people have to offer. I mean, it's okay if God is just your imagination. There's nothing wrong with that. Almost all of what we believe in has to do with our imagination when we're talking about things we cannot prove. Like Shakespeare said through Hamlet, that death is the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns. That's a really important sentence in my philosophy. The undiscovered country. Why is he calling death the undiscovered country? Well, he explains that in the next sentence. He says, from whose bourne no traveler returns. So he's implying that because no one can come back and answer questions for us about what death is, it is an undiscovered country. I'm getting dry here. So to me, and this is actually why I call my podcast this, death is the persistent rumor, the persistent rumor, right? So, and that's okay to have beliefs about something that we can't verify. Human beings are wonderful at doing that. That's what fiction is about. That's what a lot of life is about, is just our imagination. Everything that we're experiencing right now, if you're listening on headphones and watching on a phone and sitting in a chair and inside a house and you have a car and you have televisions, these all sprung from imagination. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. Okay, that is the pathway for creation. So human beings can create. We can take what is in our imagination and make it real, but once we make it real, then there's proof of it. And it's no longer imagination. God does not fall into that category, and it's okay. You can go ahead and believe in God. Just understand that it's your imagination, and you're not a bad person because of it, and there's nothing wrong with having it be your imagination. It looks like Lit Proof wants to come up. Lit Proof, how are you? What was that? Thank you. Appreciate that. What's on your mind? Right. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. Okay, so you're doing what is it? King of the Hill? Is that one of the characters? That's pretty good. I'm impressed. All right, fantastic. Someone apparently starved for attention. Okay, so let's see. I've missed a bunch of a bunch of hold on. Okay, I already know where that's going. Okay, so let's see. Let me get to a few of these comments, and then I'll probably wrap it up in a few minutes unless someone else wants to come up. Chuck Kopp says, tell us more about how you support Democratic uh, PDF file cannibals. Chuck, that's weird because the only party that is actively protecting PDF files is the Republican Party. So I don't know how I could tell you more about something that I've never told you and certainly don't believe. Let's see. Malik says the ideal of God, not idea, but ideal of God is the figment of our imagination. English has developed words and gave the words. Soup says you are spreading the true word. Thank you. Everfound says death is just the end of body life. You yourself go on for eternity. Maybe that's a belief, right? And I'd love to believe that. I think that's a lovely belief. Chuck Kopp says God is not in my imagination. Oh, what a strong statement. Ryan says, what about intuitive imagination where it's proven externally that it's something more? I don't know what proof you're referring to. And I don't know what intuitive imagination is. Like, to intuit something? Oh, do you believe in intuition? I mean, we all have a sense of things, but the idea that like everything we intuit is true is just verifiably not correct. Brupop says Boomhauer. Yeah, that's the name I was looking for. Thank you. Boomhauer. It's Boomhauer, Boomhauser. Yeah, Boomhauer. One of those names, yeah. You got signs and your imagination and what you make up have an external response. Okay? People didn't use their imagination when they talked of miracles that Jesus performed. Yes, they did. because there's no proof. There's no proof that Jesus even existed. How do I explain the existence of all creation? I can't. And just because human beings have not been able to prove the existence of creation doesn't mean that the answer to the question of creation is God. Those are two different ideas. JT Locke says, so did Jesus exist? As far as I know, he didn't. There is no evidence that Jesus Christ ever existed. And if you say there is, go ahead and present the evidence. No one has ever been able to do that. Not one person ever. So when you go, yes, there's evidence, go ahead and present it. You'd be the first one. Okay? The Bible is such a convoluted, contradictory, thematically inconsistent work of fiction. Okay? It's a terribly written book. If you tried to make it into a film, it wouldn't make sense. I mean, even from Genesis, and I won't go on about this for too long, but why not? Let's get into the Bible. Genesis starts off with confusion. Was the earth created first? Was the sky created first? Was the water created first? Were animals created first? Like, there seems to be confusion there. The idea of multiple gods is introduced in Genesis with the sentence, "We made man in our image," and then the first commandment is, "Thou shalt not worship or love any other god but me." Right? Don't love anybody but me. So the first commandment acknowledges that there are multiple gods. If there are gods, according to the Bible, there are multiple gods. And God sounds like a jealous, insecure person. Don't love anybody but me. Don't worship anybody but me. Don't make images that aren't me. Don't work on my day off. Love me or I will banish you to an eternity of torture. Does that sound like a being that created the universe or some weirdo? I'm going to drown everybody on earth because even though I created these people, I am supposedly perfect, but somehow my creation is imperfect, which doesn't make any sense to me. But okay. So I'm so unhappy with my imperfect creation that I'm going to wipe out everybody. I'm going to drown everybody on earth except a family of 8. And by the way, this is the second time where we're faced with incest. Adam and Eve. Where did all the other people come from if it wasn't incest? So it's a troubling book. Written, in some cases, hundreds of years after the fact. By the time the Council of Nicaea came up, it was like 325 years after the facts, after the alleged facts. King David was, what was he, the 1400s? Let me make sure I get this right. I might have been earlier because it was before the printing press. When did King David commission the Bible? Not King David, damn. King James. King James. The King James Version is the most popular version, right? So 1604. Wait, wasn't that after the printing press? Yeah, it took 7 years to complete the work. Wasn't the printing press 1400s? When was the printing press invented? 1440. Okay. So King James was after the printing press, but it was a 7-year period. And between the oldest known Bible, which is the Sinai text, and the King James Version, there are over 13,000 changes. Now, why do you think a king, especially one with a terrible reputation of being an awful human being like King James was, why do you think he would change the Bible so drastically? Do you think he had an agenda? Do you think he had an agenda? Someone writes wrong, 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 like that means something. CA94087 in all caps writes, "It's a full-fledged attack on God on TikTok by communists." You people talk like children. It's so funny. Let's see. Diato, I don't find that significant. Who someone is attracted to doesn't mean anything to me. The authors of the Bible actually wanted to say, let us create God after our own image, after our own like. Yeah. Look, God, the religion is a powerful tool of manipulation. You know, the opiate of the people, right? It's a way to nullify people. It's a way to control people. Diato wants to come up, and maybe not. Maybe that was an accidental request. The Bible was never changed. It was translated. That's absolutely incorrect. You see, here's the thing, the barber Mario. This is a very easy thing to verify. We have the oldest Bible known, which is the Sinai text. It predates the King James Version by hundreds of years. Okay. And then we have the King James Version. We can lay them side by side and compare, which is how we know that it was changed. And even in translating the Bible, it was changed. Call Me by Felicia says communist. Yeah, it is funny, right? Carlamon says, this guy sounds like a Democrat, and you sound like a dummy, but okay. Whether it's true or not, it's an attack on people of faith. No, it isn't. Discussing and debating things is not an attack on your faith, man. That's a really precious attitude to have. That's a real unsophisticated way to go through life, is you can't hear people disagree with your beliefs. Come on, man, grow up. And stop writing in all caps, please. Frank says, the Bible says scoffers like you will come in the last days. You need to get right for God before it. Yeah, there you go. That's what you have, fear. Frank has fear tactics because that's how believers operate. Be afraid. CA, please, I've asked you to stop typing in all caps and you won't, so you've got to go. Peter 3:3, in the last days, scoffers will scum, scoffing at following their own evil desires. Oh, I'm following my own evil desires, right? So, Patrick Scar says Jesus wasn't YT. He was a dark-skinned Palestinian Jew, not the YT guy's Christian worship. I don't even know if Jesus existed. There's no proof of his existence. Here, let me ask you all a question. Frank says, no, not fear, just common sense. Why did you say I have to get good with God? You're suggesting that something bad will happen if I don't. That's a fear tactic. Grow up. Take ownership of the very words that you're speaking and act like an adult. Okay? The Shroud of Torah has been debunked 5,000 times. And it's Turin, by the way. It's the Shroud of Turin. Torah is the is the Jewish Bible, essentially. There's the Torah, and then there's the interpretation of the Torah, the Talmud, which is already too complicated. The Shroud of Tourism. Call Me by Felicia says, I'm old and I've lived through several Armageddons. Yeah, I looked back at the first mention. I tried to find out, what is the oldest recorded claim that end was coming? And it was somewhere in the 900s. Somewhere after the year 900 was the first time someone ran around saying, the end is nigh, the end is nigh. Hey, we have 86 people on here and hardly any heart me's. What's going on, folks? Let's get those heart me's. Send me a heart me. I mean, you're listening to the content, you're enjoying it or you're not enjoying it, but you're here. So let TikTok know that you're here. Send me heart me's. Thank you so much, Gen X. Thank you, Diado. Penelope sent one earlier. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. Yeah, J. James says the shroud was accepted to be a hoax the same day it was provided. Yeah, I mean, it's been tested so often. Here's the thing. Let's put on our thinking caps for a second. Let's get out of the realm of mysticism and let's get into reality. Okay, how does reality work? How do we know about Alexander the Great? How do we know about, Thomas Edison? Because people who were alive at that time, who were journalists and historians and citizens who witnessed these people, have accounts of these people in real time. So by that standard alone, we have nothing regarding Jesus Christ, literally nothing. There is not one historian of his day. The closest is Josephus, or Josephus, some people say, who was 94 AD. That's roughly 60 years after the alleged life of Christ. That's the closest quote-unquote historian, and even the entries about Jesus that Josephus wrote are considered fraudulent. But even if they weren't, even if they prove that Josephus wrote these things, reporting that other people talked about Christ is not proof of Christ. You can see that people talked about the fact that people were Christians or people believed in this character, Jesus Christ, this literary fictional character, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Tessie Bell, the star Bethlehem is proven in astrology? So? A star? Okay, I'm not disputing that a star exists. Frank says that is a lie. Rome kept really good records about their governors and not one word about Jesus Christ. Not one word. I agree with you. Rome kept meticulous records. As a matter of fact, most civilizations at that time kept records. Even though in the Middle East they had a high percentage of illiterate people, there were still historians and journalists. And the Middle East was essentially a Roman empire. Jerusalem was basically owned by Rome. And Rome kept meticulous records. So how did Rome miss this agitator, this provocateur, this person allegedly doing miracles and bringing people back to life, which is not that big a deal because according to the Bible, people walk out of their grave every year. All right, walking on water is not that big a deal because Peter was walking right next to, I think it was Peter, was walking right next to Christ on the water also at the same time. So if you just employ some logic you'll realize that this is silly stuff. We haven't had anybody request up in a while, so maybe I'll wrap it up. But if anyone wants to come up and share their thoughts, feel free. But if you're going to tell me that God is real, all I ask is that you provide tangible evidence. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Or you can just accept the fact that you want to believe in God and God is your imagination, and it's okay. It's okay if that's true. A lot of our beliefs are imagination. Whatever it is I think that happens to me after I perish, if I believe anything happens, that is my imagination. And it's all right. Thank you for the folks sending roses and all that good stuff and the heart me's. I appreciate that. I definitely shouldn't be talking while I apply my chapstick. That's got to look terrible on camera. So, folks, I'm usually here Monday through Saturdays. I usually take Sunday off, but I took all of last week off, and I woke up today and I felt energized. And so I decided, hey, fuck it, let me go on. But normally I'm here Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern. I might start doing some shows during the day to catch a different audience. But you know, if you like having conversations like this, and of course this is just one topic. I talk about all sorts of stuff. I talk about personal development. I talk about culture. I talk about politics, current events, all that good stuff. Lots of philosophy. I just love to have conversations with people that know how to have conversations. I'm very much like Sidney Greenstreet in The Maltese Falcon when he said, "I love to talk to a man who likes to talk." One of my favorite scenes in The Maltese Falcon. Anyway, if you like these kind of conversations, feel free to follow me. Check out my content because TikTok is making it very hard for progressives to get their stories out. So please check out my content, like and share, all that good stuff. And, you know, follow me and go to the notification bell and ask for notifications either of my content or my lives or both. You can be notified of everything that I do. If you would like to hear more. Jack says, "Why do you believe this man, JW?" Is that just wondering? Oops, someone is. I love shit like this. Tessie Bell says, "We were tortured by a group we went on a trip with, and the angels did things for us to help us." I'm glad to hear that you survived your torturing. That sounds insane. TV John says, "God spoke to me in a dream in 1985. That's imagination. And I have since recorded over 15,000 songs from heaven." So does that mean you're not here, John? You're in heaven? I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe you could elaborate, John. No, John, I just wrote it. I just read it. I get it. But John, why don't you explain to me how God gave you 15,000 songs? You can come up if you'd like. Let's see. Can I invite you up? Oops. Damn it. Keep scrolling. Where are you? Okay. I've invited you up, John, because what you have to say is not easy to say in the chat. How you doing, John? Well, so exactly what you're doing right now is how it works. We're having a conversation. So, so you said I agree. Because right now this conversation is facilitated by satellites and technology, and I have no idea how it works. But I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak with you. So you said God came to you in a dream. That's wonderful. And you have 15,000 songs. When you say from heaven, what do you mean by that?
Okay, last night I had at least one song come to me in a dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and then I saw a video and posted it on TikTok. And I
Okay,
recorded with 15,000 songs from my dreams.
that's
And it's
fantastic.
basically, it's a musical miracle, and it's proof that God does in fact exist.
No, it's not a miracle. Miracles miracles are things that can't happen. Right? People say birth is a miracle, and birth happens 300,000 times a day. So the fact that you have thoughts when you sleep, which is what we consider dreams, right? And you wake up and you record those thoughts, I don't see anything miraculous about that.
These are images and sounds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I play musical instrument, and because of that experience, I've become a full-time software singer.
Okay.
So you don't want to accept that this is proof that God exists.
I'm not hearing the proof. You're saying that you are a singer songwriter, and so how is that proof of God?
It's a miracle that I'm a singer-songwriter.
And how is that proof of God?
Okay, I do not play a musical instrument.
You've said that 3 times. I understand that. So I got you. You don't play a musical instrument. We've established that. I'm fully on board with that. There's a lot of professional singer-songwriters that don't play instruments. In fact, some of them don't even read music. So I got that. I understand how that works. I don't hear the proof of God.
I'm getting into it. Okay, alright. So I had a dream on May 24th of 1985 that the eyes of God were looking right at me. And the eyes of God are all knowing. And the irises of God were gold. And then the voice of God said to me, I am. And I woke up from that dream like I've been half asleep all my life. I saw the eyes of God, and I heard the voice of God, and I knew. The next night I go to sleep, I'm having a dream. The most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. And it's 10 zillion trillion musical instruments all playing together in perfect harmony, coming from heaven into my dream. I woke up. I was startled. I figured, oh, I must have heard that on TV last week or something. The next night I went to sleep. I'm having a dream. The most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life. It was 10 zillion trillion musical instruments all playing together in perfect harmony, coming into my dream from heaven. I woke up. I said, oh, I must have heard that on the radio last week or something. But I woke up the next morning and I knew something was up. So I went to Radio Shack. I bought a cassette recorder. I bought a cassette tape and took it back to the office in my apartment, plugged it in, hit testing 1, 2, 3, and played it back. It was working. That night I had a dream. Memories always cry such ways.
Okay, John, I'm going to unfortunately interrupt you now. I get where you're going. I understand the description of the process, and I am happy for you. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm literally happy for you that you have a creative outlet, that you have an extraordinarily creative mind. To create 15 songs is amazing. Absolutely, 15,000. I'm sorry, 15,000 songs. It's absolutely amazing, and I think that's a wonderful thing that you've done. And I can hear in your voice, and I can gauge from the energy that I'm perceiving from you that this is a wonderful thing for you. And I love that you're having this experience. None of what you said proves God.
Okay, so you're an atheist.
It doesn't matter. None of what you said proves God. It doesn't matter. The label no, Kierkegaard said to label me is to negate me. Kierkegaard said to yeah, Kierkegaard Kierkegaard said that to label me is to negate me. And the one thing that you're not going to be able to do is overtalk me. Okay? So now I'm going to invite you to unmute, and now you can continue. Go ahead. Say what you want. Say what you wanted to say. Okay. What, please tell me what part didn't make sense, and I will elaborate. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No. Because then what you call me doesn't matter. Okay, good. So now you've established that I'm an atheist. Who gives a fuck? Say something intelligent, or I'm going to drop you. No, you're not. You're being pedantic and childish. Okay, look, dude. You have nothing of substance to say. Go ahead, Eric. How you doing? All right, go ahead, unmute yourself, John, and answer that question. Guess not. I'm gonna drop John. I don't think he has anything interesting to say. He just wants to. He's hyper fixated on whether I'm an atheist or not. Who gives a shit? Make your case. Just make your case. I guess not. All right. So you're gonna go. My God, I give people ample opportunity to explain themselves, and then they get distracted by the dumbest things. What, if you believe God exists, what difference does it make what I believe? What difference does it make what you call me or what I call myself? Just tell me your fucking evidence. And I'm sorry, songs that come to you in a dream is not evidence of God. That might be your evidence for your belief, and that's wonderful, and you can have at it. But that doesn't prove to me that God exists. Steve says, I believe in the Easter Bunny. I see him at the mall. I haven't seen God at the mall. That's a good one. I mean, is it all just like some people like, oh, since people believe him, then God must be real. Well, some people believe the earth is flat. So is that real also? Some people believe in Osiris as the god. Some people believe that Zarathustra is the god. Does that make that true? Like, when did belief become proof of anything? Belief is simply belief. And faith is an exercise where no proof is required. So, again, you can believe anything you want to believe. Nothing wrong with that. Because your belief doesn't harm anybody. My belief can't harm anybody. Our actions can. The actions we take based on beliefs can be harmful, but the beliefs themselves live in our minds. They live in our imagination, so have at it. You want to believe that there's a giant spaghetti monster running the universe? That's fine. My unicorn will argue with that. I believe my unicorn runs the universe. I mean, uni is in both of their titles, so of course. Right? But I mean, if you're going to be so adamant and say God is real and I have proof, then come up and give me your proof. And don't act so childish. John says belief is formed by knowledge. Not necessarily. You can be totally ignorant and believe that anything is true. I mean, the people around the time that Jesus existed were mostly illiterate. You don't have to have knowledge to believe something. TV John, unfortunately, you might say I'm an irrational atheist, but you sound like an idiotic believer to me. Your proof is the Shroud of Turin. That's not how you spell Turin. God. Faith is just another way to say, hey, I'm stupid and I believe anything. Maybe that might be a little harsh, but you might not be wrong. I don't know. I think, without trying to be sarcastic and insulting, I think faith is just an escape valve, right? Oh, I just have faith. I don't need proof. I just have faith. Okay. So that absolves you of the responsibility of the burden of proof. But when you make a great claim, like that person committed schmurder, you have to have evidence in order to convict that person. And the burden of proof is not on the person to say, I am innocent. The burden of proof is to say that person is guilty. Any great claim requires great evidence. And saying I have dreams and I write songs because of those dreams, although I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm not being sarcastic, I honestly believe that's an amazing, wonderful thing for TV John. It is not proof of God. If that's what bolsters your belief in God, wonderful, good for you. But it doesn't prove anything to me. You know, if Moses were alive today and he had a cell phone with him when he climbed the mountain and filmed this bolt of lightning and fire that came down and carved the 10 Commandments, as dumb as they are, into the stone, and then he came back and he showed us that film, I'd say, well, that's a good start for proof. Now we'll have to have people forensically examine the video to see if there's special effects on it and that kind of shit like that. But that's a good start, right? Hey, I have proof. Here's the conversation that I had with God last night. Here, you can see us sitting there together, and we have proof. Or and anybody could have proof of God. Because that to say, yes, there is this being that created everything and does everything. And even though it's illogical, a lot of it, okay, somehow he really cares whether I touch myself. I don't know why, but he really cares about that. Somehow he really cares if I eat shellfish. I don't know why, but it's clear that he takes that really fucking serious. The fabrics that I wear, if I mow my lawn on a Sunday, he takes that really fucking serious. I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense to me. But if you're going to claim that that being exists, then be an adult and provide proof, or shut up and just keep believing it. But when you come up here and talk about nonsense, oh, because we're talking about him, he must be real. Okay, dragons are real. I just talked about dragons, so they must be real. What kind of nonsense is that? Let's see. Oh, user 2521. If you read the book of the Lord, the Bible, seriously, all your questions that you just asked would be answered. No, they wouldn't. I've read the Bible. It's a badly written book. TV John, you didn't give proof. You told me about your imagination. You told me about your dreams. And then you told me that you wrote songs. That's proof of that you wrote songs. It's not proof of anything else. Someone else wants to come up. Hold on. TikTok is taking Leonardo. All right. Let's see if Leonardo loads up. There's Leonardo. How you doing? I'm not doing any work so far, but go ahead. What's on your mind?
saying, like, where's your proof? Where's your proof? I mean, we have 2,000 years of preserved scripture, but
So the Bible is proof that that God is real.
yeah,
So if it's written in a book, then it must be real.
this book, yes, 100%.
The epic of the epic of the epic of the epic of Gilgamesh is way older than the Bible, and then it must be true also. And so any book written down must be true because it's been around a long time. Okay, so this is boring and it's dumb, so I can't keep having dumb conversations. Someone else wants to come up. Alicia? All right, fantastic. All right. Alicia, how you doing?
Great. My whole thing is, I'm not sure if you believe in God or not. I never just hear kind of a tell.
Well, both of those things can be true.
It's definitely true. There's a bunch of sins, and you have the number one. You're a glutton. At the end of the day, you might not believe in God, but you're a glutton.
Okay, and what's that prove? What's that prove?
That prove
Yeah.
that you have no consciousness. You can't even tell you're fat.
I have no consciousness. I know. Wait. Hold on. 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 Calm down. Try to be an adult. Try to be an adult. Try to be an adult. All right. This is a weird person. I know I'm fat. I've never denied that I was fat. The fuck does that have to do with anything? Leonardo, I'm not letting you up here again because you're a donut. I mean, you're a glutton, so that proves what? I'm fat, so everyone that's fat proves that God exists? Holy shit. Just when I thought that childish believers couldn't get any more childish, they say, you're a glutton. It's a sin. And I wonder if that woman has ever had schmecks out of wedlock, or eaten shellfish, or worn the wrong fabric combination, or you know, taken the Lord's name in vain. I wonder if that young lady has done any of that. What's that prove of? Skank? Wow, that was weird. That was really weird. When you want to see sick people, visit the church. Courtney Buck. Yeah. These churchgoers, man, that they hate immigrants, even though Jesus said to love the immigrant. They're for capital punishment. They don't want school lunches, but they're Christians. They hate people based on who they love. Oh, a boy loves a boy. Oh my God, what a horrible thing. A girl loves a girl. Oh my God. Christians, you're a joke. Thank you for the heart me. Appreciate that. And I know I missed a few people that gave heart me's, but thank you one and all for that. Still have, looks like 33 flowers, roses left to buy. If anyone wants to scoop those up, those would be great. I've missed a lot of comments. Let's see. And I'm sorry, when I'm talking to someone, I pay attention to who I'm talking to. I don't read the comments also. TV John, you have no idea what you're talking about. So, like, everything you say just sounds ridiculous. It's just more and more weird every time you say something. Yeah, No Mercy says they can't keep an adult conversation without their little feelings. It seems that way. Kamala's a Baptist. Okay. so Bata, your call-ins suffer from religious psychosis. Yeah, I happen to think that religion is a cancer on humanity, but I want to make a distinction between the religion and the believer. I don't have a problem with believers. The only time I have a problem, oh, thank you for buying the roses up. I appreciate that. Um, Designed, thank you. Did I read that correctly? Yeah. So, designed within, thank you, thank you. Like, I don't care what your beliefs are, and I mean that literally. Your beliefs mean nothing to me. They can't affect me. What I care about is what you do, right? And when you speak horrible words to people, you say that someone else is less than you, someone else is not deserving of happiness. That's disgusting. That's horrible, right? And very often religion drives people to do that. So if you just believe in God and that makes you feel good, that gets you through the night, that gets you over your fear of perishing, I'm all for that. Whatever gets you through the night is all right. That's what John Lennon said, and I believe those words. Whatever gets you through the night is all right, and in parentheses, as long as you don't hurt anybody else. But when you're condemning people to hell and calling people sinners and trying to make people feel terrible for who they are, when they're not hurting anybody, they're just living their life. If a boy kisses another boy that's consenting to kiss that boy, no one's being harmed. Why do you care? I heard a comedian once say, and I can't remember who said it, but he said, until two men need me to be in between them while they go at each other, I'm not going to care about this. And I don't care about it. Love who you love. Whoever tingles your nads, again, as long as they're consenting, I don't care what you do. And some people do things that I consider disgusting when they have schmexual Congress, right? But I still accept it. Darth Dawkins, that's an interesting combination for a username. Darth, how you doing? What is it that's confusing you about my prompt? Yeah, and I want to know what I need to elaborate on. What part of it is escaping you?
I guess you're advocating that God doesn't exist.
Beyond your imagination, yeah. God exists in your imagination and nowhere else. I haven't seen any evidence of God. It's an observation, and yes, it's sustainable because I have not seen any evidence that God exists. So yes, that is a sustainable claim. So listen, dude, you're boring me already. So just say what you have to say. What is your proof that God exists? What is your proof that God exists? And I'm done answering questions, and now, bye. I am done with you boring motherfuckers. Holy shit. I don't mind if you disagree with me. I expect people to disagree with me. I'm a fucking talking monkey. With all due respect to monkeys, I think monkeys are amazing, especially gorillas. I think gorillas are fucking fantastic. I think they're way better than I am. But biologically speaking, I'm a talking monkey. Okay? I expect people to disagree with me because I don't believe that everything that I think is right. I'm willing to share my thoughts. I'm willing to justify my thoughts, but I'm not convinced that I'm 100% right about most things. Eddie is going to come up to join us. But my God, can't you just get to the point? Can't you people just, like, if I say, give me your proof that God exists, if you believe that God exists, just tell me what the proof is. How you doing, Eddie? I'm excellent. Thank you for asking. What's on your mind? So that's your belief. What is your proof? Nope. Saying metal exists and things exist and people exist and fish exist and birds exist, that's not proof of God. That's just proof that those things exist. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to is it Yalia? Hello? What is your first name? Yes, what is Yahya Muhammad? How you doing today? Excellent. Thank you for asking. What's on your mind? That's a biblical story. What is the proof? That's just a biblical story. What's the proof? So because humans exist, that's the proof of God. So what is the proof? You're giving me facts that we've measured. That human beings have measured these facts. How is that proof of God? No, just saying that if we were once that's not a scientific fact. You're talking crazy now. If we were 1 centimeter to the sun, we would be destroyed. That's not true. Because our distance from the sun fluctuates. So you might be right, but there's no proof of that, and science has not claimed that. So again, what is your proof of God? So okay, you're having a circular conversation, and nothing personal, but this is so fucking boring to me to say that because things exist, then God. That's not logical. So come up with proof. What is proof that God created all these things that you can name? So we're back to because we exist, then God is real. That's what your claim is. No, I'm literally saying what you just fucking said. All right, then. I'm glad that he knew that there was no point to him continuing. Parents. Parents, that's an interesting name. Parents is loading. There we go. Parents, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just curious, how do you experience experiences people have with the near-death experiences? What they claim to see? I'm just curious, Cecil.
Um, what they claim to see. I can explain it a couple of ways. One is imagination. Two is that when the brain is damaged due to either trauma or lack of oxygen, delusions can happen.
Okay. I was wondering more about the detachment from the body. Are people able to see themselves from up there somewhere?
Yeah, that's a delusion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
That was it.
That's pretty much it. I'm listening still.
Okay. So can you tell me why you believe in God?
Well, when I look at things around me, look at the computer, for instance, the way that we are so intricately put together, there has to be a designer.
So then okay, so complexity, because of complexity,
Yes.
it requires a designer, right? So would you say God is complex?
I believe so, yeah. God is
So
complex.
then who designed God?
It's beyond my understanding.
There you go.
I
Okay.
have to admit, it's
Yeah.
beyond my
Me
understanding.
and mine too. It's definitely beyond my understanding as well. And I'm glad that you're humble enough to understand and admit that.
I'm going to keep listening. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for coming up. All right. Someone said let's talk. Who designed you? Hold on. Let's see. Where was the let's talk? Whoever said let's talk, feel free to come up. Um I got people like get so emotional over this, man. Like I know that your foundation is being threatened by my claim, but like try to grow up. Ampere Bronte says Ampere, how great is God and our science is just a trifle. Okay. Taylor says God is uncaused cause. He's inherently uncreated by his nature of being God. So is my unicorn. My unicorn told me the same thing about him or her. I'm not sure. Deconstructing, I agree. That's awesome for the guest to say I don't know. It's a very honest answer, and I have no problem with that answer. And I've said that many times. Oh, Alphabetical Man said let's talk. Alphabetical Man, feel free to request up. Jay Kathy says I believe in what cannot be seen. I believe in some things that cannot be seen. Again, I can't see atoms. I believe they exist. I can't see oxygen, but I understand what the absence of oxygen feels like, so I know that that exists. Someone said shame on you. TH. Is that how you pronounce that? No intelligent person ever genuinely positive the unity of reality is contingent on a unicorn. So dumb. Well, I could say the same thing about God. No intelligent person ever genuinely positive the unity of reality is contingent upon God. Bronte says, Bronte, are you just quoting people? Carl Gass, we will have the great and ineffable joy of seeing the one whom we could only glimpse. Oh boy. Truck driver Mad Max says, how does DNA work? I'm not exactly sure. I've heard it described as the building block of life. Tony B says, uh, Tony B. Ferroni. Oh, I didn't catch the whole name. Tony B. Ferroni. You must be Italian. Chef Boyardee. That's funny. You're truly not educated enough to understand the physics of God's creation. You missed the apostrophe in God, but okay. Bronte, you're just quoting other people, so that I don't see what's going on there. God is a imaginary friend. No, he's an imaginary friend because why? Because BCZ, I guess, is because you never got a prayer answered. I mean, if I pray for something and it happens, are we going to count the prayers I made that didn't happen? And then you're going to counter that with God works in mysterious ways. And the children, the 20,000 children that will perish today from starvation, do you think they're just not praying right? Is that what the problem is? JL says, guys, stop wasting your time. You will not convince him. Bible commands us not to waste efforts on fools. Yeah. Yeah, don't bother trying to justify the thing that you've pledged your life to. Actually, in the Bible, there's a passage, and I think it's in Matthew, that says that you are to defend your belief. So you don't even know what you're talking about. Amy says, I don't believe there's God. I don't know. I have no evidence of God, Amy. I've never seen evidence of God, so I guess I can't say that I believe in God. Frankie says, one day you'll see soon enough. Yeah, right. Truck driver Mad Max says, you just put yourself in the lake of fire. See, this is what they have. They have childish taunts and threats, all fear-based. Oh, look, and it's always the same thing. They always do the same thing of threatening to, we hit 100,000 likes. Thank you, everybody. I haven't done that in a while. You have these people that just because you don't believe as they do, their hatred starts to come out, which proves that they're not even spiritual the way they claim to be. Oh, I love God so much. God is so wonderful. God is all knowing, all loving, all caring, all doing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but you don't believe in him? Well, fuck you. You're going to burn forever. Such horse shit. And here's the thing. I'm better than most of the people in the comments, and I'll tell you why. All of these people that are like, don't bother trying to convince him, I'm better than you. Because if I thought for real that you were going to be tortured through eternity and suffer in hell, I would do everything I could to convince you to accept God. But when you're dismissive and say, oh, fuck him, let him just burn, I'm better than you. I'm a better human being than you are. You've proven it. You've proven it. I'm not even trying to tell you I'm right that God is just your imagination. It's just something that I believe. I might be wrong, but I have not seen any evidence of it. And the knuckleheads that came up to talk about it offered me dreams and the fact that clouds exist and people exist and birds exist. That's evidence of God. And when someone says, well, God is real because his creation is complex, and then I ask, well, that means God is complex, right? Right. So who created God? Oh, well, I don't, your logic falls apart at every turn. Falls apart at every turn. Anyway, I've done almost 2 hours spontaneously. This was fun, except for when it wasn't. But it was mostly fun. For the folks that follow me, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll try to do more daytime stuff. I'm usually on Saturday. I'm Saturday. Listen to me. Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern. But maybe I'll start coming on Sundays as well, and maybe a couple of times during the week. In the early afternoon. We'll see. But if you like having conversations like this, and they're not all about religion, and this really wasn't about religion. It was just about the nature of human imagination. Um, not only follow me, but check out my content. Go to my link tree in my bio and check out the other platforms I'm on, which I can't mention here because TikTok doesn't like that. And well, mostly engage in my content. That's the best thing that you can do for me, because it's hard for people like me on these social media platforms these days. Thank you, Peaceful Grace, for the heart me. Appreciate that. And thank you to everybody else that gave me a heart me. If I missed your name, I truly appreciate it. But the thing I appreciate the most is your time. That's the one thing we can't remanufacture. So the fact that you gave your time to this is something that I will never take for granted. So until we meet again, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.